Hey popcorn junkies, movie fans, movie aficionados, film buffs. Oh my god, well, the writer's strike, the actor's strike, what seems like a post-pandemic dearth of new projects or news. Movie news is scarce and scant, to say the least, which is why A Weekly Rushes hasn't been happening in the old-fashioned sense of the word, because there just simply isn't enough news happening, because deals can't be struck, because actors and writers aren't signing up to deals and what have you. So, you know, trailers, not even a great amount of trailers are coming through at the moment, not for anything particularly compelling. And, you know, we're watching the schedules of so many films get pushed back. Even Dune is looking like it's being pushed back because, of course, if the writer's strike and the actor strike continues, none of the performers, none of the writers will be able to turn up to promote the bloody stuff. So I've got a feeling, though, the strikes are going to resolve themselves pretty soon, if I'm honest. I think they are. We didn't actually miss this. I just didn't think this would excite people, if I'm honest. Saw X, horror film, part of the Saw franchise of films, another franchise, movie franchise that came from James Wan, pivoting around the Jigsaw killer, so Saw as in half the word jigsaw. The character, I think, was John Kramer. I've seen one or two of them, but for me, the problem with the Saw franchise, I feel like if you've seen one of them, you've seen all of them, or if you've seen one of them, you could have seen any of them, and so seeing any of them, you may have seen one of them, and in having seen one of them, you may as well have seen any or many of them, and you could have ended up, when push comes to shove and you watch them all together back to back, having already seen them all. Is it a one-trick pony? Is there something more to it than meets the eye? Saw X. Okay, so this is the 10th movie in the franchise. It sits, by all accounts, as a direct sequel to the original Saw and as a prequel to Saw 2. So in a sense, this is Saw 1.5. But it's Saw X, because it's the 10th film in the franchise. I think once you start getting to numbers 10, 11, 12 in any franchise, I think you're in deep doo-doo, and presumably and surely you're on ever sort of diminishing returns, both at the box office, but also in terms of critical success too. That said, as we now know, there's a huge kind of bankability and marketability for, you know, low budget, effectively and efficiently made horror picks. You know, I'm thinking Barbarian, I'm thinking even something like Megan, which was more of a kind of comedy, but, you know, low budget twists on violence, Evil Dead Rise, you know, those kind of films do well. They make a lot of money relative to the money that's spent on them. So I think here, that's why we've probably got The Exorcist, True Believer, is it? That sounds like a sort of Beach Boys song. I think that's why we've got that coming out. You know, an opportunity to kind of rinse many horror franchises, many horror brands for the final drops, quite literally, of blood. What's curious, I suppose, about the Saw films is the idea that this character, the John Kramer character, the murderer, the psychopath, and I think by parking this film in between the first two, clearly allows them to kind of like really bed in with his character again. This Saw-killing serial killer. Is the idea that if people survive the kind of gruesome, unfathomably torturous, mean and grotesque kind of traps that he sets, there's some kind of almost moral saviour or redemption of some form. So I think that's an interesting theme that's in there. You know, the idea that if you somehow survive these incredibly almost unsurvivable kind of assaults and assault courses and what have you, and bits of kit and saw and all that kind of stuff, then somehow you're allowed to go. You're allowed to survive. So in that sense, I think there's something interesting there. I mean, I sometimes wonder whether the whole kind of Squid Game concept would have ever kind of come about if it wasn't for the Saw movies. So without further ado, let's watch Saw X. This has gone down absolutely mentally on YouTube. I didn't think it was going to create quite so much excitement, but a number of you have asked, are you going to do Saw X? So here it is.
Out of all the men to cheat, you picked John Kramer?
The cancer is still spreading. I'm afraid there's nothing else we can do. There is one person who might be able to help.
Our program is a two-pronged treatment outside Mexico City. The results have been stunning.
She saved my life.
You're in very good hands with us.
After that, what happens then?
Your whole life happens then. John Kramer.
According to these scans, the tumor was never removed.
How much time do I have?
Months, at best.
I still have a lot of work that needs to be done. Hello, everyone. It's time to play a game. You all pretended to cure me, but what I have planned for each of you is very real.
Peace came upon me. No light, no sound.
The only thing I have not provided is your anesthetic. But trust me, you will want to remain alert. Of all the men to cheat, you picked John Kramer?
Please, don't hesitate.
Place a big enough piece of your cerebral tissue into the glass enzyme tank. This will save your life.
So sleep, silent take.
This is not retribution. It's a reawakening. Live or die. The choice is yours.
So clearly the girl at the end or the person at the end was someone we're supposed to know. Wow, a lot of chopping up of things there. Like the music. On the end of the day, we need the air that we breathe. Is that ABBA? It's the horror film or the horror franchise that someone must have been wandering around B&Q. It's home improvement torture. It's a torture show. It's torture horror, isn't it? Let's face it. I mean, as I flash around it, it's, you know, it's torturous contraptions. And he has the ultimate poker face. He is not being, it's very functional for him. This is a man who's had to go to B&Q late at night. He's run out of a certain type of screwdriver. He can't find his hammer. He's desperate for a jigsaw. He needs to fix something in the kitchen. He's being harassed by his partner day and night. And he goes out and what does he do? I'll tell you what, I'll grab everyone that tried to save me in the hospital and I'm gonna cut bits off you. I'm gonna saw parts off you. I'm gonna poke things out, burn things, flap things, skin things, slice things, chop things up, dice them, and chuck them in a great big pot.